Okay, time to finally get back to the MUST tool, the multi-use screwdriver tool. Sorry that it takes so long in between these installments. I do have a day job and been busy. So I did order some new hardware, and because I'm going to use these, I'm not going to put up with having a scraped up piece like that. So I do have new screws coming. So what I want to do, this is fairly comfortable in the hand actually right now. But I want to just kind of go over it a little bit, clean up some of the rough edges just by hand. And then once I'm happy with the handle, I'm not going to highly polish this or anything like that. Like I said before in the other episodes, this is a prototype. And as such, I want to use it hard. I'm not going to make something fancy, you know, that's not the point of this. So I want to clean this up by hand just so it really feels good in the hand. And then we're going to remove the handles and we're going to finish the steel part. In doing the handle and everything, I'm going to scratch all this up. So we're just going to go over, buff out the steel. The tip is still too thick. So we're going to thin that down to its final dimension and clean up these flats. So I'm going to grab a piece of, let's see, what grit here. I have some 280 out. I think that might be pretty good. Rhino wet. This is great stuff. It puts up with being wet, obviously, as the name suggests. Just some closed cell foam. I'm just going to dip in here a little bit. So after this prototype, I'm planning to make a really nice copy with A2 tool steel, and I will probably take a little more care on the handle. I'm going to be using SureTouch G10. But even so, even if this isn't going to be a super fancy one, I want it to feel good. I want it to be usable. And I want it to be neat, you know. If I show it to people, I don't want it to look like a piece of trash. It's got to be tough. That's kind of why I chose this micarta. I really like micarta. Feels great in my hand. And it's super tough. All I want to do really here is round off any of the little edges and stuff that were left from the machine grinding that I did. I'm not taking anything to any certain level. What I'd really like to do is have the second version done when I go to Blade Show in June, which right now it's middle of January, so it shouldn't be a problem. But in order to do that, I need to, kind of figure things out with this one. Kind of fine-tune my process a little bit, maybe. All I'm doing is hitting the transitions where I did my grinding, just to soften the edges, make it feel good in my hand. That's all we're doing. I love how that looks. This micarta looks tough. That feels really, really good. It's thick enough to where I can really get a good grip on this. I didn't get rid of the thumb swell. So if I do need to shove this into anything, I can do that. And of course, I'm taking into account that my Kydex is going to need to come over and snap onto something. And it'll snap onto that swell right there. Lock it in. I'm going to go and get just a little bit finer grit paper. And I've got some 500 grit here. So I think that'll be fine enough. You know, if we polish this and make it slick, it's kind of going to go against what we're after here. The grip of this micarta should be a benefit to us. I could take and put this on the buffer and bring out a shine even on this canvas micarta, but it's not what I want. Just going over it, just nice uniform passes. All right. I think that looks pretty good. And more importantly, it feels good. Okay, so made a mess here. Yeah, when the new screws get here, I'm not going to put them in until after I get the metal all Cerakoted. All right, let's take the screws out of this, get the handles off of it. This might be... All right, I'm going to take this and lock it into my vise. That's going to make this much easier. There's one. Now, I thought about just putting this in my blast booth too, and giving this a blasted finish. Since I'm Cerakoting it, boy, that might not be a bad idea, actually. You give it a nice uniform blasted finish for the Cerakote to adhere to. What do you think? I do like the blasted finish. It always looks good. You know, the downside is corrosion resistance. Blasted finishes usually don't hold up as well to corrosion because they harbor the moisture and everything inside the little pockets. But I don't think that's going to be a problem since the Cerakote's going to be on there. Oops. All right. There's our side plates. Admittedly, a little bit rough, but they're going to be good. For the purpose, they're going to be absolutely fine. So there's our tool. I'm going to go get set up at the grinder, and we're going to finish this tip. So I'll meet you over at the grinder. Okay, so here's how we're going to do this. I have the platen adjusted at an angle, and I'm going to run this 246 block up and see how the grinder will do the tip, and then we'll just work on it like that. Hopefully, I'm going to put this back in the tripod here. Hopefully that will allow me to get a good grind. I'm not really sure how I'm going to film this very good for you, but we're going to give this a go, and I'm going to run things very nice and slow and see what happens. I haven't done this type of grind before, so this is new to me. I put the original grind on with the disc sander knowing that it was just going to be a preliminary thing. Using a 60 grit ceramic belt. Oh, very nice. Very, very nice. Let's try the other side. Uh-oh, got a little kitty wampus on that one. But I need to go up a little bit higher anyway, so it'll give me time to straighten that out. Getting close. Getting very close to where I like it. I'm going to go to a slightly less aggressive belt and see if I can fine tune that a touch. So we'll pop on a slightly used 120 from the 60 grit. We'll back her down nice and easy here. Got to track her a little bit. All right. Give her a go. Let's clean up the other side. This side turned out really nice. I'm probably just going to be messing it up more than anything. I want to clean this one up just a little bit more. All right. I know it's not perfect, but if I do bead blast it, that'll be fine. They're both ground to pretty much the same height. And the tip, the tip thickness seems to be pretty good. Boy, I think I wouldn't mind going just a touch thinner. Just a touch thinner. That ground really nice. Cool that off so we don't lose any temper. All right, let's see about blade thickness now. Nice and uniform. Who do I have to compare this with? If I walk over here, and I don't know if I have a big screwdriver over here. I have these interchangeable bit screwdrivers. As far as comparing it to an interchangeable bit screwdriver, it's quite a bit thicker. But not crazy. And if I have to use this as a pry bar or something, that might not be bad at all. So now, what I want to do is I want to clean up all of this stuff. Get this, because this is just raw scale. I just kind of want to clean that up. I think maybe I should just blast that. If I blast this whole thing, that'll clean that up. So let's shut this down. We're going to get the blast booth hooked up and run this through a blast cycle. See where we're at. Be right back. Okay, so I'm getting ready to blast. I've got the must tool in here. You can kind of see that shiny thing down there. I've got a light inside the booth. I don't know if you guys even care to watch this, but if you do, I'm going to try to give you the best view. You know, this window has protective plastic over it. It's tough to see through. I do have a light inside there, but I'm going to turn off the overhead light here. So maybe that will give a better view inside there. Let's see. That helped a little bit. I do have a vacuum that I need to run that pulls fresh air through here so that it doesn't get full of dust, so I can still see what I'm doing. So I'm going to turn that on, so things are going to be a little loud. I'll try to hold that up while I'm blasting so you can kind of see what I'm doing. Here we go. Whoops, sorry. Wow, you can hardly see anything. It's getting pretty dusty in there. 70 grit aluminum oxide is what we're using. Does a good job, but it definitely breaks down and makes dust. We're almost done. That poor little vacuum's been sucking up this grit for a long time. It's not doing too good. All right. I'm gonna go turn on the main lights and we'll get that out of there and see what she looks like. Hopefully my air compressor will shut off here in a minute. I'm gonna take the camera back to the workbench here. Be right back with the tool. Turned out pretty good. I'm getting all fingerprints and everything all over it. Yeah, turned out pretty darn good. I'm happy with that. So now it's going to be a little bit before I'm able to take this in and get it Cerakoted. This is 1075 steel. If I set this down right here, just in the humidity in the air, it'll be rusty as all get out by tomorrow. So I'm gonna grab one of the most important tools in the shop, WD-40. And we're gonna give it a healthy dose of this as a protectant for now. WD-40 is not a lubricant, but it is a heck of a good cleaner and protectant. So now, this thing could sit quite a while, especially down here. If you haven't seen my video where I set a bunch of steel outside with different things on it, you can go back and watch that, but I tested, one of the things was WD-40 sitting outside, and it did a really good job protecting. So there is the Must tool in its final form before I take it to get Cerakoted. I think it turned out pretty neat. So I'm going to set that. I got some a dry towel here. I'm going to just set it up there. And then we have just hit these with a little WD to make them look cool. We got the handles, excuse me, we got the handles ready to go. The next thing will be, I'm going to take this to a place that's done a bunch of work on guns for me, and I'm going to have them Cerakote this. And then I will get, by that time, for sure, well before that time, I'm going to have new hardware come, and we'll have to cut it down and everything like we did with this stuff, and get it fit in, and so it'll look a lot better with without having the scratches that one has. So that's going to do it for today for the Must tool. I appreciate you guys hanging with me, taking a look at this crazy thing, and I'm looking forward. I learned a lot with this so far. One thing I learned is that grinding this tip, I want to make some sort of better jig than what I just used. And I have some ideas for that. And all I got to do is do it, you know. And when I get to doing the final version that I'm going to take to Blade Show, I want it to be really well finished and everything. So a lot of this it's fine. It's functional. It's not perfect. On the next version, I have some ideas to try to make it a little bit better. One thing is that these are 1032 threads, which is fine. I'm sure that these are going to be plenty strong enough, but I have some coming also that are 1/4 28, and I'll probably use that on the next version. You can never get too strong, right? Especially for something like this, you never know what you're going to encounter. So anyway, like I said, thank you for hanging with me on this, and I'll see you on the 4th installment once I get the Cerakote done on this. All right, take it easy.